Kia ora and welcome to Workers' Voice. Spend the next hour with us as we discuss the tribulations and triumphs of building workers' rights and increasing fairness in the workplace. This show is produced by Unite Union. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Workers' Voice. My name is Shanna Reeder and I'm your host for today, and I'd like to introduce you to my friend Aleesha, who's our hotel union delegate at our union. Hi Aleesha, how are you doing?
Hello, very good, thank you, Shanna.
You feeling awake? It's a bit early for you, I know.
That's all right.
Aleesha had a very late shift last night, so thank you for joining us so early. Now, today we're going to be talking about young people in unions, which is why I've asked Aleesha to come and join us, because I don't feel that I can really give a good kind of account of what it's like to be a young person in a union anymore, because I don't think I count as a young person in a union. I think I count as maybe young-ish, but I wouldn't like to think that I'm sort of part of the young group. So that's why I've invited Aleesha here today. Now, I have noticed, and I think probably everyone involved in unionism has noticed, that there's been quite a fall over the last kind of couple of decades for most unions in terms of their young members.
Yes.
So I did have a look at Unite's stats just to see how we were going and how we were doing in that area. Interestingly, I think we're doing pretty good, which is obviously why we have people like Aleesha and many other young people involved. Yeah. I do think it's probably widely assumed that a lot of our success with young people is to do with the industries that we work with, for example, fast foods. But in hotels, sometimes the workers, they're not always, in their 20s, like many workers are older. At the casino and also in call centres, we have many, people that are parents and people that are grandparents as well, don't we? So I wanted to see how Unite was actually stacking up around that. And I found some interesting figures. The average age for our fast food workers is 28, which I was really surprised about. I sort of thought it would be a little bit younger than that. There's also, that image out there of a fast food worker, isn't there, that's sort of, in high school or just starting uni. But no, actually the average age of our fast food workers is 28. So I think it's a lot higher than people would think. But overall, looking at through all the industries that we deal with, our membership's looking okay. In terms of, keeping a sort of diverse age groups. 71% of our membership at Unite is actually 35 and under, so wow. It's quite young. 47% of our membership is under 25, which I would say is very high. I'd say that, most unions wouldn't be anywhere near that. And 27% of our members are 35 and over, which I think you'll find are our hotel housekeepers and our casino workers.
Yeah,
you can't even enter a casino until you're 21 or over, so that might skew the numbers a little bit. So I think we're doing okay. When I looked at the age of our delegates, because I was looking for a young delegate like you, Aleesha,
thanks.
I did notice that the vast majority, more than half of our delegates are aged between 20 and 29. So again, I think that's, maybe we're a little bit of a special case, but in general in New Zealand, I think unions are tending to age, which is fine, and it's really good to have a lot of that experience. But I think we need to think about the future and who's going to take our place.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
30, and I'm already looking for my replacement.
Right here.
Yeah, that's right, I know. So we're working up to it, aren't we? So, Aleesha, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, so I work in the hotel industry, and I've been in the industry for 3 years now, and I work in a restaurant. So I joined the union around about, must be 3 years ago now, and basically our delegate at the time, he just came and approached me and he said, "Hey, you're not part of the union." And I was sort of like, well, no, I don't need the union. What's the union for? So he just came to me and explained what the union was about and all the benefits of being in the union. And I was like, well, that sounds pretty cool. I was like, at the time, just thinking about the vouchers and the benefits of being in the union.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually think beyond that. So, yeah, it's good to be a delegate now and to actually understand what the union is there for.
Yeah, I mean, you've only been a delegate for probably a month, 6 weeks, something like that.
It.
You're fresh as, which is why it's really good to get your perspective before we run you ragged and you get tired of us.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It won't take long. But, yeah, I mean, you mentioned you've been with us for about 3 years. How old are you now?
So I'm 22.
22. It's so little. And so you've been with us, for 3 years. So obviously you joined us when you were very young. I would say most people, when they're that age, have no idea what a union is. So I think it's also interesting to note that the person who recruited you was, someone that we would call a young worker as well. Really excellent delegate who was in his 20s and really did a great job for us until he moved on, and we found you to take his place.
Yeah, I think it really helped the fact that he was quite young as well, and we were friends, working quite closely together, and it just helped to, create that bond and the trust in a person being your age and saying, hey, come join the union. Yeah,
you could relate to that person.
Yeah.
I could imagine it would work the other way as well. If I, was 60 or something, a 60-year-old housekeeper or,
sure.
head of the restaurant or something like that, and someone came up to me and they were 18, I don't know if I would quite... I should, because I should be respectful of people of all ages, but I'm not sure if I could quite relate to them as well.
No, I completely understand.
Probably, I think, though, you're right. Like, if you have people who are different ages who are delegates, then different people are going to relate to that. So I think that does make sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, Aleesha, how did you get into hotel work and working in the restaurant? Did you always want to do that, or did you fall into it?
Well, funnily enough, I didn't want to be in the hotel industry. I actually started off to study tourism. So when I was in Christchurch, I was doing a certificate in travel and tourism.
Oh, right.
And I actually wanted to work aboard a cruise ship or work in travel, You look so glamorous, the life of, travelling all around.
I don't know, I've heard about cruise ships. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Anyway, after the earthquakes down in Christchurch, I really struggled to find a job actually in tourism. And there was an opening for a hotel, and I was like, how about that? Food and Beverage Attendant. That sounds interesting. And decided to come up to Auckland and finish my studies in my diploma, which led me on to finding the job where I am currently. Yeah.
Cool. And the transition to Auckland as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you enjoy it?
There are times where I think, what on earth am I doing here?
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the nature of working in the hotel and just being around people, and that's just where I belong because, hospitality for me, it just comes naturally.
Yeah, and you've got a really good crew at your hotel around you as well, haven't you?
Oh, we definitely do, yeah.
Really, a lot of union members at that hotel, and I have to say I do enjoy going there and catching up with them because they're a particularly good crew over there. Now, Aleesha, I want to get your opinion on a lot of things today. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to go over, okay? So we're going to get to that shortly, but I think we're just going to start off with a song just to make sure everyone is awake and feeling good. And so we're going to start off with a track by Nico and Vince, Am I Wrong?
I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. Am I wrong for thinking that we could be something for real? Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that I can't see? But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see. So am I wrong for thinking that we could be something for real? Yeah. Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that I can't see? Yeah. But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see.
That was Nico and Vince with a track called Am I Wrong? What an awesome song to start off the show and get us into talking about being a young person in a union and trying to make things better and do good things for the world. Today in the studio we have our young hotel delegate, Aleesha. Hi,
Hello.
Aleesha. Now, Aleesha, I wanted to ask you, I was a little bit older than you when I started getting involved in the union. When I was your age, 22,
Yeah.
I did not know what a union was, I must admit. I think I started to figure it out about 24. I think I was 24 or 25 when I joined Unite and started to learn about my rights at work, how I can make things better and how unions can make positive changes in the workplace rather than just trying to fight on by yourself.
Of course, yeah, sure.
I was working in a really bad retail environment, and I was kind of doing okay. So I was earning okay-ish money, and I was doing all right. But I could see the workers around me that were working on the hourly rate wage that was quite low, and also just a really under a really domineering management style. Weren't having a good time, and that's what led me to go and find out what are the options. What can I actually do about this for my workmates? I want to know, because you've been with us for a while, since you were sort of 19, 20.
Sure.
Did you know much at all about unions before you joined us?
I actually didn't have the fairest idea about unions or what they were there for when I first joined. As I said, it was kind of just for the benefits at the start, because I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
And I learnt so much from then, just talking to our delegate at the time, and he was telling me about these collective agreements, and I was like, what is that? And he was saying, well, that's your contract. You should know what that is. And just basically taught me that, we have to actually stand up and fight for what we want, because no one's going to do it for us. And I was like, well, wow, that's what the union is doing. Let's be a part of it.
Your previous union delegate was particularly good at that as well. Getting people involved and making sure that they understood those details. And I've no doubt that, you're carrying that torch now, and you'll be doing a really great job at doing that same thing to other, young workers that come through. Your life at school was a little bit more recent than mine. I still remember mine a wee bit.
So.
But I'm just interested to know, do you recall learning anything at school about your rights at work or what to do when you get to work if something goes wrong?
Well, funnily enough, I don't actually remember a lot about that, because I only did 1 year of my schooling here in New Zealand, which was my last year. So that, I guess, was 12th form, second to last year.
What do you call that? Year 12?
Year 12, over here. So For me, that was just my last year here because most of my schooling was actually done overseas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we did take a few classes in which it was called employment or, success for employment classes, where they would get you ready for the workforce and you'd go off-site for the day and do trips and things. But we never actually learned a lot about our actual rights and, what we're entitled to, which is surprising. They, don't teach that.
I would have thought that at that age, I mean, regardless of your years spent overseas doing schooling elsewhere, I would have thought that if you were a school-age, high school student in your second to last or in your last year at school, that would be the time that you would be teaching people that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And it's interesting that you say that because my experience was actually very similar. I think my last year of school was 2004. And I do recall doing something called vocational studies.
Okay.
I think I did a course in what to do if you get sexually harassed.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think I did that. But apart from that, I really had no idea at all. It certainly did not include anything about unions or, it just omitted that entire option.
Sure, yeah.
And so I'd never heard of a collective agreement. I'm pretty sure I actually didn't even know what an individual agreement was.
Oh, yeah.
So that, I find that a little bit strange. Like maybe we're missing something. Like maybe there's a bit of a gap there where young people aren't being taught about their options or their rights at work. I think perhaps I don't know what your experience is of this, but maybe there's a bit of a gap there too, where our parents maybe didn't know about unions or weren't in unions, or even if they were in unions, didn't necessarily talk about it at home.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's something not everyone wants to talk about.
Yeah.
And from my experience, going straight from high school trying to find a job, I ended up actually working at Domino's Pizza. That was my first job. And it was actually one of my friends that got me the job there.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that about contracts or rostering, and I actually started off working $10 an hour with no contract.
Oh dear. Were you making the food or were you driving?
No, I was in the store and making the food.
I've heard some stories about the situation that the drivers are in. Doesn't sound too good.
No, definitely not. Even at the time when I was in Christchurch, there was a lot of issues raised around how they were going to pay the drivers as well. So
yes, I think there's still issues around that. Still going.
Yeah,
because they don't have a union, Domino's.
No,
so I think those workers are a little bit out on their own at the moment. But I do know that there has been discussions at quite a high level of the unions in New Zealand about what to do about not just Domino's specifically, but workers that are in that situation, especially the drivers. Now I'm just thinking, like, I have, one of my parents was a union delegate. I have many teachers in my family, who are all union members. I have aunties and uncles who are union delegates as well and have been for a long time. My grandfather was the secretary of a union. There's all that history there in my family, but it was never mentioned or talked about or given to me as an option of, maybe you should think about joining a union or calling a union for help or anything, it didn't really come up. And I find that a little bit interesting, but I think that has, I don't think that's isolated just to my family. Potentially it's because there's a little bit of a view out there that unions cause trouble or,
Definitely get that view in the hotel industry.
Yeah, what I like to say is that unions, we solve problems.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to, cause trouble to get that done. But sometimes you do have to do something in order to bring about a positive change. If people hadn't been making a fuss and making noise, for centuries, then we'd still be, in a pretty bad spot, I would say.
That's so true. Like, just to think today that the contract that I'm on, being actually guaranteed those 25 hours.
Yeah.
To think, if we didn't have the union in place, I probably wouldn't have that today.
Yeah. I should mention that Aleesha's hotel was one of the the first ones to come on board to end 0 hours.
Yeah.
Well before all the fast foods came on board to do that. And so, a lot of that was due to having really strong membership amongst those workers and understanding that if, that this was their main issue and they were really strong on that issue and they stood together and they won it. The person that recruited Aleesha as a union member was in the bargaining team for that particular collective agreement. He was really excellent. Yeah. And we're looking forward to holding future negotiations because our membership has probably doubled again since those negotiations. And Aleesha, you'll probably be sitting in that negotiation room this time.
Not even the slightest bit.
Yeah, just think about it for a while. We'll get you ready for it. You'll be fine. You'll be great. I know that there are some outfits out there that are doing work to try and raise the awareness amongst young people. There is a youth union kind of group called Stand Up. I'm not sure if they're too active outside of Wellington at this point,
right.
I think. And so, they're working to really try and raise awareness of those issues. But I think they only have maybe some volunteers working for them at the moment. And there's also the Young Workers Resource Centre who are based in Hamilton who have actually been working on an interesting project. They've been trying to work with unions to educate high school students. So they've asked us as union, organisers, as union kind of reps to go into high schools and talk to young people.
That's great.
Not just about unions specifically, but about their rights at work. But obviously unions are going to be a part of that.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's a really good project. I don't think it's operated too widely yet, just because it's very new and they've only been working on it for a couple of months, and they're relying on union organisers to kind of take time and go and do that.
Of course, yeah.
Me personally, I was a little kind of nervous about it because I thought, oh my gosh, do I really want to stand in a room full of high school students? And I know a colleague of mine who would have done an awesome job, actually, because she's a trained educator. She would have done an awesome job, went into an assembly and did a presentation to those students, and the principal ended up kind of just politely walking her off the stage. Wow. So I'm not sure if they were really on board with the concept of, really preparing these workers these future workers to actually work. So that was a little bit strange, but I'm sure that, as time goes by and people get more used to it, that will probably help. Just to teach those sort of 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah, definitely. Those are the ones that need to know the most, because a lot of them nowadays are leaving school quite young and, leaving at 16 before their last years, and they're going off into the workforce, but they don't actually know their entitlements and their rights. And those are the ones at risk that, they will be taken advantage of. And,
yeah.
They need to know.
I remember as a young New World worker, this guy used to come in every Friday and buy his magazine in a cellophane bag.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
This slightly dodgy magazine. I don't think it was the really extreme kind, but it wasn't great. And he, would say a few comments to me as he bought his six-pack in his magazine. And, here I am, 16, 17, just going, I don't know what to do about this. Yeah. And I never told anybody. Didn't tell anyone, In that whole workplace, there's probably 100 staff, didn't say a word. I'm sure he did it too, probably half of the staff there.
Yeah, most probably, and they wouldn't have known what to say, yeah.
No, nobody knew, but thinking back, I was like, so many options now that I can think of that I could have done.
Sure.
Some of them more legal than others.
Yeah.
But moving on. So we're going to play a song now that's going out to all the young, amazing women in unions at the moment. This is kind of an old school song, but I think we should be introducing our younger people to union culture and the songs that have come along with it. This one is called Union Maid, and it's by New Harmony Sisterhood Band.
There once was a union maid who never was afraid of the goons and the gigs and the company things and the deputy sheriffs who made the raid. She went to the union hall when the meeting it was called, and when those company boys came round, she always stood her ground. No, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. No, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. This union maid was wise to the else want to be free, just take a tip from me. Find you a man who's a union man and join the ladies' auxiliary. Oh, married life ain't hard if you got a union card. A union man leads a happy life if he's got a union wife. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. We modern union maids are also not afraid to walk the line, leave jobs behind, and we're not just a lazy. We'll fight for equal pay, and we will have our say. We're workers too, the same as you, and fight the union way. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. Hey!
And that is a New Harmony Sisterhood band in a song called Union Maid. I feel like maybe it's time to start rehashing some of these old classics into a slightly more modern sound, but that's just my opinion. It's nice to hear the, oldie but a goodie stuff as well. And we're in the studio today with Aleesha, who is a hotel worker, 22 years old, and a very new delegate. She's been a delegate for about 6 weeks or so. Aleesha, your particular workplace has always had, as far as I know, back in my history of working with you guys, which is not that long, but as far as I can tell, some pretty strong delegates in their 20s. And you're very new to being a delegate and this whole kind of situation, so you're still figuring it out and learning. Yeah. You recently attended our AGM and our conference, which was at the end of November.
That's right, yeah.
How did you find that? Like, what's your experience been so far being a delegate?
So for me, it was just interesting to have my actual role reinforced, just, to tell me what, I should be doing in the workplace. Because before becoming a delegate, I was kind of a bit shy to get out there and recruit,
I would never have picked you as being shy.
Oh, really? I am full of nerves. But, for me, just knowing that I can get out there and I can do it. And there's many others as well around me that were there at the conference, so full of confidence, and they were actually getting out there and talking to their workers, whether they're older, younger, it doesn't matter. And just letting them know that they're there and they're available to talk, whether they want to join the union or they, or not, and they can give them advice and definitely suggest for them to come see them. So for me, being a younger delegate in a hotel, there's a big responsibility because there's so many different departments and just being by myself as well. It can be kind of challenging when you've got management around you and they're sort of like, oh, so you're the union, you're a little Miss Union delegate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We have to get you a badge that says that.
Oh, yeah, I would love to stick one on.
We can make that happen. We've got a badge maker in the office.
Sounds good.
We'll get Joe onto it. I could see that you made some really good friends during that couple of days though as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Which probably, helps. I mean, I know, you sort of came to that conference and didn't know anyone, which is the case for a lot of people when they come to these conferences, and so they get a little bit nervous,
Yeah, sure.
And, but, you got right into it. And, I mean, there's a really diverse group of people that come to our conferences as well, which I'm quite proud of. You look around the room and, there's no majority anything really. It's a total
I was so surprised. Yeah, actually to see, the amount of different people. It wasn't just hotel workers. The majority was actually fast food workers.
Yeah.
To my surprise. And, not just from Auckland. They were from all around the country. And it brought a sense of empowerment to see everybody come together. And, we're all striving for the same goal, just fighting for our basic rights.
It seems basic, doesn't it? But sometimes it's also hard work.
It really is.
Which is why delegates are so important, though, and why, we want to focus on getting, younger people involved and to be delegates. It's really important. You can't survive otherwise. We've got to keep refreshing ourselves and reinventing ourselves, Like I said, I'm not going to sit in my chair for my whole life. I'm looking for the next person.
Yeah, sure.
When I was your age, which was not that long ago, it was quite different in the workforce, I think, from what I can tell.
I can imagine, yeah.
The last couple of jobs I've had have been for a few years each, but before that I skipped from job to job to job. I think I've had about 20-something jobs in my life, and I'm 30 so far.
I can understand that, yeah.
It seems to be the way it goes these days, but because I didn't know what to do and how to make things better, or I didn't know how to protect myself in workplaces, when things got bad, what I would do is just leave. And
Sure.
I was lucky because at that time, I was living in sort of Wellington, and there were enough jobs to go around, and I have no qualifications to speak of, really, and I was very lucky that if something went wrong, something went bad, I could just walk out of the job and into another one that day. Not even kidding. Done that several times.
I can't imagine doing that these days.
That's what I wanted to know. What is it like now? I don't think it's like that, is it?
No, definitely not. But to be honest, I know a lot of people, I guess around my age or younger, that I know they do sort of have that sense, I can just job hop. But being here in Auckland, actually, at the moment, the job market is very tight.
Yeah.
And, I would highly not suggest to leave your job without having another one lined up. Mm. But a lot of people, when they are faced with these circumstances, it can be very stressful for them, and not knowing how to stand up for themselves or, just basic things like that, what they're entitled to, they will just up and leave without a fight, which is really unfortunate.
It seems, I feel like, and this is just anecdotal, but I feel like a lot of my friends and family, when they leave a job, they leave because they're not happy there.
That's so right.
Because something's happened or something is happening, and they don't feel like they can do anything about it, which seems crazy, because really the reason that you I think, just my opinion, should be leaving a job is to move on to something else that you would rather be doing. Perhaps the pay is better, or the hours are better,
That's right.
or there's childcare, a childcare issue that, it'll work better for you, not because you're getting away from somebody.
Yeah, that's right. I feel a lot of people actually, they're bullied out of their jobs by management, and it's just a threat tactic that they use. And it's quite unfortunate for them, and they just move on from job to job, whether it be 3 months in one job and 6, in the next. It's actually quite hard for people to, stay in a job. Well, for myself, I know I've been in my job for 3 years, but I've found, there's a sense of settlement there in the job, and having the stability of the union behind us as well. I feel quite secure in my position.
Because those little niggly things are probably not so likely to happen. Things are still going to happen, but they're more likely to get sorted out, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
You have options.
Yeah.
I certainly know that was my experience in jumping from job to job. You should see my CV. It's a mess because I'd go somewhere and someone would be creepy or a bully or, whatever reason, and I would just leave. And that was the first 10 years of my working life. Scary, really, isn't it?
That is, yeah. Well, to think I'm only 22, I've actually had quite a few jobs because I actually started working when I was 15. And from then till about 18, I guess, I never really held a job for more than 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you've been in this one for a while now.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good indication, eh? I think... it took until I was about 26 to settle down into something, which I'm still in.
It's always good.
Now, on that note, what would your message be to young people who, don't want that life of running from job to job because someone is, treating you badly? What would you say to those young people?
Well, the first thing would be that you're not alone. And if we stand as a union together, we're much stronger in numbers, although they may not see that as one small individual. But, for them to stand together, definitely a lot of things can be done. Although they may not know that, they can see that through the past and what the union has fought for. And just for them to know that, you know, they do have rights and they are worth something in the industry, whether they're qualified or not. Everybody is equal to their rights.
Absolutely. Which leads us perfectly, actually, into our next song. Thank you, Aleesha. This song that we're going to play now is by Nesian Mystic, a good New Zealand Kiwi band, and the song is called Unity.
Hold us back, when the mind comes forward, the cause, the counteract, there exists no force that could ever hold us back, gone with intention, unified expression, together we're stepping forward, collective envision, uplifting, side by side, ally, no competition, unity creates steps to propel the mass, you exalt the ones, keeping them down low, so all my soldiers put your hands up, be the soul rebels, coming with the cause, using gas, bridging the journey, governors marching forward, community powerful, invincible, this entity, unstoppable, through a strength, through unity, no worry, no apology, oh, every little thing's gonna be alright. Said the woman come in, get on board or jump ship. We ain't going nowhere if the force ain't equipped. So here's what we gon' do. Let our powers combine, generate the vulture effect. Components intertwine. Your barriers fall, similar to ride squads. Limitless inspiration, we roam, gather resource. Reaching above and beyond, given the chance we form a greater alliance, more capable to perform against the hate we decrease. Disconnected energies, disinfecting no threats, and dislocating our peace. It don't matter your complexion or even what section, as long as we moving in the positive direction. There exists no forward that could ever hold us back. When the mind comes forward, the cause, the counteract. There exists no force that could ever hold us back. Gone with intention, unified expression. Together we're stepping forward. The question remains, are you on board the bus? We take pride with every step like the Million Man March. When it's time to unite, I'm positive. You send the message on the pipe and let all other people know we coming together to sever humanity's alive thirst. For destruction of conjunction will resemble cloudbursts. I speak the spoken words, I lay the people rehearse. When worse comes to worse, my tongue comes first. I said friction buries our people just trying to pick out the dust. No vision to excel and the misses killing our thoughts. So should I say drive, bridging the gap within the armor only together is power possessed. Reflection of my no forward that could ever hold us back. When the mind comes forward, the cause, the counteract. There exists no force that could ever hold us back. Gone with intention, unified expression. Together we're stepping forward. Whose birth name was given Simeon. For many of my years, his life remained anonymous. Taurus, the stubborn moon of May, who led the way, led me astray, but still I rise to face the day. Together, everyone achieves more. Back to back, shoulder to shoulder, the ultimate force. United as one, we stand together, heads high. As we know the spark of the time, this name's unified. Come together, we stepping forth, no one can hold us back. We like the fantastic bombs on a positive attack. On the quest to excel past the negativity. Yo, when each of us together, we gon' shine in unity. So hold on together, let me see you hold on forever. As one mind, body, and soul, and strong vision, be letting you know. There exists no forward that could ever hold us back. When the mind comes forward, the cause, the counteract. There exists no force that could ever hold us back. Gone with intention, unified expression. Together we're stepping forward.
That was Unity by Nesian Mystic. I love that track. Just makes me feel good. Now, I've noticed that there's some really amazing young delegates coming through our union at the moment, and this really became apparent to me at our conference, Aleesha, which you were at. Do you remember the workers that came down from KFC Kaikoui?
Yeah, that's right. The two girls.
Yeah. They were amazing. I mean, one of those workers was only 17, I think, when she joined our union, because she got up and she told her story, even though she was
very emotional.
It was hard for her because they've been really going through a really difficult time. That was her first job, and she was made redundant by the company right before Christmas.
Such an awful timing. Yeah.
For some reason, it's always before Christmas. It's always bad timing like that. Those workers at KFC Kaikoui, they found themselves in a bit of a pickle, but they stood up and they fought back and they improved their situation through their actions, And, I mean, I found that really inspiring to hear from those two workers to tell us about that. And there were, there was a young woman, a McDonald's worker, who went with our union over to Brazil, and she went over there to talk to the fast food workers over there that were fighting for better paying conditions. There's a 17-year-old who ran for our executive and did a really excellent speech on how she, why she wanted to get more young people involved. Really passionate, keen and intelligent young people at our conference, that I found really, really inspiring. And, it's getting towards the end of the year and I'm getting tired, you guys are getting tired, but it kind of gives you an extra boost when you run into people like that. And I think it's really important that we're catching those people at that age, You've got energy, you're keen, you're really passionate. And when we get you now, you will carry that, whatever we teach you, so hopefully we do it well. We'll do our best anyway.
I'm sure you will.
But whatever we teach you or whatever you learn, you will always have. And it doesn't matter if you become a nurse or a teacher or a pilot or, the manager of a hotel in your future. Yeah. You will always have that. And I think that is when we're doing our job. It's not just about our own work site, our own industry. We've got to look at getting those people while they're young so that you will carry those values that you always kind of had. You had that instinct. We just kind of confirm it for you, I think, and
that's right.
Give you the tools. But, you'll carry that forever, hopefully. That's my plan.
Definitely. I think it's it creates the drive, and when you've got that fire in your belly and you can just go for it, and that you can stand up to people and you're given the tools to do it, there's nothing that can stop you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to do such amazing things on your work site over the next year or two, aren't we? Do you have any advice, Aleesha? And you can be brutally honest with me. This is absolutely fine, because I need it. Right. Do you have any advice for those of us who work in the union movement to get more of you guys involved?
Well, the thing I would say is just having more presence around the hotels and the fast food industries, and just knowing that you are around, and it's not just the delegates on the floor, that you guys are there backing us up and you're behind us. And just to see the presence around, and maybe if you have some activities going on, and then the workers who aren't in the union, they'll be coming up and saying, hey, why are these guys having all the fun and we're missing out? And, there's something to look at there. And, if there's action going on every few months, and we can put something up on a calendar and, have these events planned where we get together. It may not just be within the hotel. It may be, all of Auckland, or say all of Wellington get together, all the union members, and have a fun run, or, just something silly and crazy.
You want me to run? How about a fun walk?
It could be a fun walk, right?
Okay, or like a fun eating.
A fun eating.
event or something.
Yeah.
I think you've really touched on something. So, I'm making notes as you speak, because I do seriously want, your point of view on this. Visibility is important.
It's so key.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, because I think probably most people have no idea what is going on in the background. They don't know what we're doing every day. Yeah. I've taken to posting on our hotel Facebook page to let people know
it's
what
really
I'm
good,
up to
actually.
occasionally, just because I think people,
Yeah.
how would you know? And
Yeah.
I've realised that now. How do you know what on earth we're up to? Do you sort of mean like more, you want to do more sort of social activities and have that social aspect between people?
Yeah, I would say so. Even just being socially online and saying, hey, there's this Shanna chick online and she's with the union and, you know, she's talking to the delegates within the hotel, and those, you know, who maybe aren't members, maybe friends of those people that are in the union, and they can just look and see what's going on. And, you know, if we do have events planned on the calendar, and they'll be saying, hey, can we get involved? And then it's just, it sparks the interest for them maybe perhaps to join the union, because there's so much going on with the union.
Yeah. I do know that traditionally there used to be a lot more kind of social activities going on in unions and between unions. I think back in the day, I'm saying, you know, like there's like before my time, I think there was maybe picnics and things like that and some competitions. So maybe that's something that we need to explore, is fulfilling that social aspect of people's needs as well, and getting back to people feeling like the union is another part of their extended family.
Yeah, sure. Even social groups, you know, we could form something within the hotels or, you know, restaurant, fast food.
I think you just want to party with those Sky City delegates again, don't you?
Definitely. They're a cool bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have to have a few more barbecues at the office.
That sounds good.
Maybe some movie nights or something. We'll definitely look into it with Aleesha, our new events coordinator, which is a volunteer position, I might add, just in case our co-presidents start to get scared that I'm hiring. I think you do raise a very good point, and that's something that we need to look at, you know, in all unions, is fulfilling that need, you know, for people to feel connected. And although I do think online it can be a part of that, I don't think that can fulfill everything.
No, definitely
So I think
not.
you're quite right about face-to-face.
That's so right, yeah. There's nothing better than face-to-face interaction. And, you know, it's all good having a poster on the wall saying, hey, join the union, or these are the benefits of being in the union. But actually having someone come face-to-face and talk with you is, you know, so much better.
Makes all the difference.
It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. This question is a little bit tricky. There are some people out there that have the view, I don't share it, that young people, millennials specifically, are too kind of me, or individualistic to be interested in unions. I don't know if that's true. What's your take on that? You know, do you think that young people aren't interested because unions are collective and we don't just focus on one person? What do you think?
Well, a lot of people do have that view, but being myself, I wouldn't actually say I do have the same view as the baby boomers do. I mean, they did work hard and they fought and they didn't always have their rights. But, I'm not sure. It's quite a tricky question.
I feel like people do still care about things, you know?
They definitely do. I would say in my workforce especially, there's a lot of people raising their voices and saying this is not okay, but they aren't actually really doing much about it.
Yeah, that does tend to happen. I think that's where we come in, is to try and show them and give them the tools. Otherwise, how would they know?
Yeah.
If no one tells you, It's only fair enough. We're going to play another song now. This is Gil Scott-Heron, Home is Where the Hatred Is.
A junkie walking through the twilight. I'm on my way home. I left 3 days ago, but no one seems to know I've gone. Home is where the hatred is. Home is filled with pain, and it might not be such a bad idea if I never never went home again. Stand as far away from me as you can and ask me why. Hang on to your rope, baby. Close your eyes to watch me die. You keep saying, kick it, quit it, kick it, quit it. God, but did you ever try to turn your sick soul inside out so that the world can watch you die? Home is where I live inside my white powder dreams. Home was once an empty vacuum that's filled now with my silent screams. Home is where the needle marks tried to heal my broken heart, and it might not be such a bad idea if I never went home again, home again, home again, home again. Kick it, quit it, kick it, quit it, kick it, quit it, kick it, can't go home again, home again, home again. You know I can't go home again.
Welcome back, and we're nearly finished up this episode of Workers' Voice. Today we've been talking about young people in unions. I feel like there is so much more that we can discuss on this topic.
There definitely is.
Like, I think we could talk about it for hours, couldn't we, Aleesha? So we might have to continue that on the car ride home, or do another show on it in the future, probably. I want to touch on a memory of mine just really quickly from 2009. I think I was around about 24 or so. I was the newly elected vice president of our union, Unite, and myself and another executive member who was probably a year or so younger than me, we were lucky enough to attend the CTU conference as part of our union's delegation. The CTU is the Council of Trade Unions, right? So we were really excited. Never been to anything like that. We walked into the room. It was a really big conference room.
Yes,
You'll be familiar to those because
Yeah.
it was at a hotel, okay?
Oh, okay.
I can't remember whether it was one of yours or not. But we walk into that room and we saw just a sea of white, you know? I want to say white to people, white shirts, you know, it was all dudes, white hair. And I remember it because we sort of looked at each other, me and my colleague, you know, and it was quite intimidating.
It sounds daunting.
We were kind of like the weird, shiny freaks and of the, you know, in the room, you know, and like afterwards there was sort of social drinks and everyone came to talk to us and it was quite weird, like we were the new.
Yeah, you're the fresh blood.
yeah, it was like, you know, and it was a little scary, I have to say. I do have to say I'm really happy because in my short time in the union movement, I have seen that improve a lot. I went to the CTU Women's Conference this year and the crowd was a lot more diverse. Obviously it was women for one thing, but there was many people of different ages and I didn't feel so out of place, you know. I did feel like there was a little space there for me. My co-exec member, her name's Lauren, we sort of realised when we saw the crowd at that conference years ago that was kind of representative of the union movement as a whole. Like, that is kind of what the union movement looked like outside of our union. You know, it was different. We were literally the youngest people there, and we felt like real weirdos. I'm really proud that our union has been quite conscious of not falling into that, and where we did find ourselves falling maybe slightly one way or another, we've done, you know, the work to correct it. But I simply don't accept that young people aren't interested in unions. There's a little bit of a view out there, but I do not accept it. You're sitting in this room with me.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? I think some things have fallen over. I think our parents probably haven't seen it as important to educate us about unionism. Maybe they thought the world is a better place now and the law is better, so they don't need to. Who knows? But I think that's fallen over a little bit. I think our education system focuses too much on preparing us with facts. You know, here's your Latin exam, rather than actually exploring the issue of how we can work, what we can expect our working life to be like, and how to protect ourselves at work. Yeah. I feel like those were just massive grey areas for me that I had no idea about. The young people like you, Aleesha, that I've met through my union work, you know, you really inspire me. You're smart, you think outside the box, and you find solutions to things. You know, you're really keen, and you actually want to be part of something bigger than just yourselves. You know, and so this idea that millennials are selfish or individualistic or something, I really think is rubbish, and you should push back on it.
Yes.
So this is part of that. I think, you know, the reason there's not a lot of young people in the union movement is because we haven't made a space. So I think we need to move over, make a space for them, bring them in, and make them, you know, be a part of our whānau. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. Really appreciate your time. If you do want to listen again, you can do so online. It's www.planetaudio.org.nz/Workers Voice. Aleesha, thank you so much for joining us in our studio today. I know you had a really late night last night.
That's all right.
I do appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
You can go and have a nap now before you have to go back to work. And we're going to finish up this show with some classic union song here, because we have to teach our young people all of the classic songs of the union movement. This one is called Working Class Hero by John Lennon.
As soon as you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all, till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home and they hit you at school. They hate you if you're clever and they despise a fool. Till you're so fucking crazy you can't follow their rules. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. When they've tortured and scared you for 20